24. So there's
Hello, my Teaserking family. Just watching my Andrew McGuire. Let me pause it. Looks like a good one. I'll have to watch it after we're done here. How's everybody today? I am fine. Thank you very much. My back's a lot better, although I went to the jeweler's just to get my jewelry looked at. So let's start there. So I got married in 1990. My ex-wife decides to get gold and silver, or gold, yellow, and white, which I hate. Never should have married her when this gets picked out. So I get this looked at. And she says this is 9.6 grams. There's 32 grams to an ounce. I don't know why they're pricing it in grams. It says it's 18 karat. It's worth $285 at the spot price of $18.40. I get this. This is 14 karat gold. This is 23.4 grams. So it's roughly $545. So the total, $545 and say $300 is $845 roughly. I get this appraised. This is 36.6 grams. 32 is an ounce. So it's a little more than an ounce, as I thought. 18 karat. This is 1,100. So this is a half ounce of gold, even though it's an ounce because it's 18 carats. So I'm going to keep this because this is for graduating with my master's. This I want to get rid of because this is my wedding, which I don't want, and then this. So I can theoretically get 8.25 for it. I need at least 1,000 for a half ounce. I'd have to come up with another couple hundred to go get a half ounce or to go get a quarter ounce and some. I could probably get a quarter ounce and a thing of silver. So now I'm going to go off to the coins, to the gold store, and see if I can trade this and this in, which is basically, this is about 1 ounce because this is 23, but this is 14 karat. So this is 23 grams of gold. So this is an ounce of gold, but you can't get the ounce back. You would get like a half ounce, which is really strange. So I don't know why 23 grams, 32 grams is an ounce. So it's really a half ounce. So I don't know why 545. And again, that's at a jeweler versus a gold store. So I will have to see. But that's where I was out. I was always curious about the ring. So I think we paid $800, but I think we got 2 rings out of it. There was a his and hers ring. So I think we probably paid $800 for the for both of them. I wouldn't think it'd be $800 a piece. Just a second. So I asked the question, are you guys hoarding gold or you just sell it? She said, well, we kind of have to sell it all because that's our business, right? So we get it to sell because it's like the guy at the gold store, right? The coin store where I buy the gold and silver. He needs to keep the lights on and pay the rent. So he buys and sells the coins as if they're just inventory, even though it's gold, and even though he should be hoarding it and locking it up, waiting for the gold price to go up. Now, again, from what I know at the jewelers I was just at, they're really high-end jewelers. And I asked them that question. Then I said, do you need an Austrian economist? I could be a consultant. I'm looking for work. I might as well do that. And she says, well, the owner was like, got a business degree. I says, well, that doesn't mean he's an economist. Well, he handles that. I said, is he an Austrian or a Keynesian? She had no idea. Then we start talking a little bit long. I said, well, ask him if he, ask him that question, see if he has an answer. My guess he's a Keynesian, if he even understands what that is, which I doubt. So because he went to business school, all he does is sell gold and silver. He sells jewelry. Okay. And he had Rolexes too. So I says, are you buying gold? She says, like on your own. She says, no, it never goes up. I go, do you understand it's price fixed by JP Morgan? She didn't understand it. It's amazing to me, people in the gold business, the guy with the coin store, this jeweler, high-end jewelers, they don't understand JP Morgan's price fixing. How do you not understand JP Morgan's price fixing? It blows my mind how stupid these people are. And it just goes to show you they're salesmen. All they do is, oh, this necklace came in, we'll sell it. This, I think they're selling for $2,000. So I'm like, I could get $1,100 for it. It's over an ounce. So I guess because it's not 24 karat, even though it's an ounce, but the amount of gold in it is not an ounce. I guess that's confusing. I have to ask that question. So if it's 32 grams, does that mean it's 32? It weighs 32 grams, and then it's 18 karat. So it's 3/4 of the necklace of the 32 grams is gold. That's what I think it is. Because she offered me $1,100 for this, which I'm sitting there going, well, $1,100. If it's an ounce, why would I only get $1,100? But it's an ounce times 18, whatever that 0.75%, which gets it to 24. But the ounce is 32, so that's why it's not full value. And then obviously they're taking. So my experiment is now I'm going to go to the gold store and I'm going to show them those two pieces, and I'll keep the information in my pocket. And I'll say, well, what do I have? And then what I'd like to exchange it for, like a quarter or a half ounce of gold and some silver. Because I think I'd rather have a half ounce than the ring and the bracelet. I'd rather have a half ounce of gold, I think. Then she starts worrying. The lady starts worrying about what if they confiscated. I go, they're not going to confiscate. Well, what if they do? They did in the 30s. I go, that's because we're on the gold. We were on the gold standard, and they needed to print more money, so they needed more gold. We're not on the gold standard, so they don't need gold at all to do the shit they're doing. It's all phony baloney anyway. So they don't need the gold, but they're going to tax us when we sell it. And I says, if we need to go to Switzerland, I says, it's easy on the plane. You just put it in like it's your own pocket change, quarters, dimes, and nickels. And you'll, they're not looking for coins. They're looking for guns. So they're not checking for gold. I've never, I've taken Jenna a few times, gold and silver, and I've never been even asked. Half the times you go to Europe, when I went to Lisbon, I didn't even go through Germany. I went through to get my passport stamp. That was it. What are you going for? I'm going to Portugal. Okay. Go to your gate. And then when I get to Portugal, I didn't even go through passport control. I just met Jenna at luggage because she came in an hour later, and we walked right out and we went right to the cab and went to the hotel. So there was no security as far as, like, when I come home, they'll say, how much money do you have? And I'll say, $300-$400. They don't care. But they don't really ask, are you declaring anything? No. Okay, fine. You said no, goodbye. You know the way our government works. So anyway, so then I start teaching economics at the jeweler, and they're so clueless. It's amazing. Like, the lady sitting there, I go, you got to get out of money. I said, forget if it goes up in value. I says, if you hold money, you're screwed, right? By holding money, it's going to go to zero. Well, it didn't go to zero in the 2008. Well, okay, but there's strong inflation and strong debt, and it wasn't the money didn't lose the value. There wasn't inflation back then. It was the housing market crisis. It's apples and oranges. This is actual inflation, which means the dollar's losing value. They again think it's prices, and I had to tell them it's not prices. I said, if Oreos go up from $3 to $5, that's not inflation. It just takes more dollars to buy the Oreos. Oreos can get away with it. Toyota can't, or Mercedes can, or GM can't. That's the problem. So you don't want to go there. And you can see the light going on. Like, I says, you got to get out of the dollars because they're going to lose its value. I said, then you don't have anywhere to go, but gold is the only competition for it. It's really not competition. It's so much better. But JP Morgan doesn't want you in gold. That's why he keeps the price down. What if it loses demand? I go, it can't lose the demand. Look at the demand in Russia, China, India. So with high demand should be high price, but they're keeping it down because it's bullshit. So I said, keep that in mind. Anyway, so I'm telling her the kicker is the value, but you're really buying it to get out of the dollar. And then I said, well, you know what? If nothing happens and gold stays at whatever and silver stays at whatever, you go back to the coin store and you're fine. You go to the coin store and the coin, and you can get your money back. Basically, it's a holder. If the dollar collapses, which we all know it will, if the dollar goes to zero, gold will go way up. Okay, so let's say the dollar doesn't go to zero. I don't believe you, Howard. Okay, you still have the gold, and you can still trade it in for spot. Like, I'm not worried. I have gold, right? I can go to the guy now and get $18.40 for my gold. About what I paid for it. Maybe I paid $19. Not the point. So if I need money, I can trade it in. It's not like he's going to say we don't want it. You can't trade it in. He's going to take it and give me spot for it. So that's what you got to realize. So there is no risk in buying. So let's look risk and reward. What's the risk on an investment? You buy Microsoft stock and it goes down and you lose. The reward is it goes up and you make money, but you only make when you sell. What's the risk on gold? Let's go to silver. It's a better analogy. So I buy silver at 25 an ounce. What's my risk? Goes to zero? No. right now the spot's like 20. So what's my risk? It goes to 10 and I need to sell it. Okay. Not probable, but let's say that happens. I can still go to the store and give me my $10 for it. I lose $15, which you'd be happy if you bought Tesla stock and you only lost $15 in it. But let's say it stays at 20 and it doesn't go to 2,000. So your risk is nothing. Your reward is it goes up to 2,000. And then you go and sell it, right? You go to the guy, the coin store will buy it back and sell it because he needs inventory. So he's going to buy it because it's walking out the door. They can't keep gold and silver in inventory. The only thing it keeps is that American Eagle actual dollar because it sells for 35 and everybody buys the bullion at 25. So if we look at risk reward on silver, your risk is almost zero. And if I need the money, I can buy the 20. Let's say I bought 20 of them, $25 an ounce. And at $25 an ounce, for 10 of them is $250. So let's say 20 would be $500. And I need $500. I got to pay a bill. I go back to the store. He gives me spot, which is, let's say it's 22. And he gives me 22. I lose $3 an ounce. Big deal. So that's my risk. Well, my reward is it hits $1,000 an ounce, and I need it then. I paid $500 for it. I sell it for $20,000. What's my reward? Huge. What's the probability of that happening? Now, okay, I feel very strong about it, and the reason is because of the gold and silver exchange that Russia and China are doing, and Russia and China coming out with new currency backed by a gold standard currency. Well, why now, Howard? I mean, come on, when it's been like this for 50 years. Well, because when Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein wanted to have gold currency, the U.S. killed them. They said, no, we're not allowing that because everybody would run to their currency, right? Everybody would run to the gold, and it would show that the gold has more value than the dollar, and the U.S. doesn't want to show that. They want you to think gold has no value. So, well, what's different? The BRICS countries. The U.S. is not going to go to Russia and China and go to war with them. We're already refusing to go to war with this whole Russia-Ukraine thing. That would be a perfect time to go, but we won't go. So that's really what you have is Russia. They're not going to do the same to Russia and China as they did to Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein, who are little Middle East countries. Then you have about 80 countries wanting to get off the dollar. There's nowhere to go but a dollar backed by gold. What are we going to do? Kill 88 leaders? I mean, you can't start to. I suppose they can try, but then we'd get nuked off the planet. So I don't think that's really the alternative. So if we can't blow up Russia and China, which we can't, they're going to come out with this currency backed by gold, which makes the gold price go up. Now, what are the odds on that happening? Probably barely fucking high because China's got 40,000 tons. Russia's got 30,000. Russia's got 20,000 tons. It behooves them. It's like me. Now I got 50 ounces. It behooves me to, and that doesn't count that or this. So I got more, but it behooves them. Okay, at $50 an ounce, at 50 ounces, it behooves me to get to. Okay, now let's let the money go. Now I want 50,000 an ounce or 40,000 an ounce, something like that. Now it can go up. Now I bought. Yeah, am I going to buy more? Well, maybe, but right now now the price can go up. I'm fine with it. That's the difference, and that's where Russia and China are sitting. They're both broke. Russia's got to pay for war. China's whole housing crisis, the whole housing market collapsed. They don't have a good stock market, and they got a lot of gold. So that's what they have. They had a famine. They had a water problem. They have an oil problem. They have an energy problem. They're basically broke, but they're sitting on 40,000 tons of gold at 32,000 ounces a ton. They want the price to go up. They don't need any more. They don't need to keep buying at the 2,000. So when I say 50,000 an ounce for gold, 2,000 for silver, that's what I'm basing it on. So there's a reason for my method for my madness. And so I see that coming soon because the US dollar is collapsing. I believe because that's what China wants, and I believe China runs us. Just the way Biden is. This is why else would you do this? No, even Rome fell and Britain fell. Even the 70 Steelers fell, and the 89ers fell. So you get on top for a while, and then inevitably you'll go down, and that's what happens. So you have that in everything, and especially here. So you have it. The dollar's collapsing. We can see that. But it's amazing how people, even in the gold industry and the jewelry store, don't have a clue. It just blew my mind. Like, you work in a gold store. That's all you do is you have gold and silver and diamonds and jewelry here. What are you doing? Like, you don't know it's price. She keeps saying, when's it going to go up? I said, don't you understand it's price fixed by JP Morgan? No. I said, well, a derivative. They sell 1 million ounces of silver, but they don't have any. And they're just selling it. And then London's buying it. And it says, this is a scam, Ponzi scheme. It's not even a Ponzi scheme. It's just bullshit to lower the price. So JP Morgan doesn't have the competition of the dollar. That's all it is. It's just a normal, I want to keep my monopoly. I don't want to have competition, JP Morgan. And that's what this whole thing's about. And then she didn't understand that. So it's just amazing. So hopefully, I think she got it now. So we will see what happens. But it's just amazing. So I will go either later today or tomorrow, see what I can get for my gold. Now, worst case, I keep it. At $18.40 an ounce, I know what it's worth, about 800. I mean, it's not, the ring's small, so I'm not expecting a lot. The bracelet, it's 14 karat. I was hoping it was 18. This is 18. So this is worth 1,100 if I return it for gold, but it's really worth if I wanted to buy, this is what's funny. If I wanted to buy it at the store, it's 2,000. That shows you the markup. So I'm hoping that the coin store gives me more of a pure price for it. But because he said it's an ounce, you'd get, it's 18 karat. Gold's at 2,000, you'll get 1,500 for it. So I got to see if that's the price. But, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Do I want to trade this in for maybe a half ounce of gold or a quarter ounce of gold and 40 more ounces of silver? Well, it won't cost me anything. I don't want the ring anyway. It was my wedding ring, and the bracelet I never wear. This is the only jewelry I wear. So, do I even want it? So I don't know. Anyway, so that was my morning at the jeweler's. I had to go to the bank to deposit some money, but at least I know it's to me it's safe because I had to pay off a balance, and then I left a little bit. Problem is Social Security comes next week. Rent's due the 1st, so rent just hit yesterday. But to cover the rent, I get the Social Security, which will cover. So now I need to save it for next month's rent. So it's almost like, okay, I get paid next week, which is going to cover the April 1st rent. Then I'm looking at May. I moved in May. I think I'm here till June, and then I'll look for another place to live, either in the U.S. or Europe, somewhere where rent's cheaper, because it doesn't matter to me. I did get a call for a job, but I'm not holding my breath. And then I got to do my unemployment. So I'm not. That I tried to do yesterday. I didn't know the password, so I got the new password. So now I'm ready to apply for it. I'm a little confused because I worked 6 months in Alabama, 6 months in Michigan. So I'm not really sure how that works because I'm applying for unemployment in Michigan. So the fact that I worked in Alabama, I don't know how they do it, but I think because I live in Michigan, I got to file in Michigan, not Alabama. So we will see. They probably reciprocate it or whatever. Anyway, so that would be nice. That will cover me. But I mean, it's tough to retire until my gold and silver go up. That's my retirement. But I don't want to sell them. I don't want to go sell an ounce of gold for 1900. I want to sell it at 40, 50,000. So I'm bridging the time of the money I have, keeping the money, and then getting this, retirement money in. So we'll see. Anyway, that's how you plan for retirement. You have that the stocks will crash. And she said the same thing. When is the stock market crashing? And I says, it's not the Super Bowl. It's not scheduled for Sunday at 5:00. And so that's when the game is. And the result will be at 8:00. I said, so we don't know. All we know is it's going to crash, but we don't know when. And the when is the key. Now, my point is you're inflating the dollars. How long is that going to last? It's going to last till people don't want it. That's the tricky part. When you don't want the dollar anymore is when it loses value. And when is that coming? Who knows, right? That's the point you don't know. So with that said, that's why we're waiting. And then you can either believe or not believe. But if you buy gold, so the moral of the story is if I buy gold, even if it doesn't go, and I buy it now, it's 1840, so I buy it for 1950. Even if I buy it and it doesn't do anything, and it stays at 1950, and a year later, we're waiting. I can go back to the coin store and say, give me back my 1840, so I lose spot or whatever it's at, which is okay. I lose money. You lose money at poker, betting football, or just going to buy clothes or food. So that's my risk is zero, basically. I'll take it back. I'll get my money back. Okay, great. I get my money back. And versus it could go really high. Versus if I keep my money, so I have two choices. I get rid of this worthless money, and as that happened in Germany, and as people know, it's losing its value. That's what the inflation is. As this loses value, I don't really have a choice. I either stay in this and lose the value, or I get out of it, and my only option is gold and silver, not the euro, not the yen, not the British pound, not the Swiss franc. It's not another currency. It's only gold or silver. So I either stay in this until it goes to nothing. I get out of this and go into gold and silver. That's a no-brainer, right? Because like I said, at the end of the day, if I need to get back into this, because this hasn't happened yet, it's going to take a little bit longer, I can get back into it. So is there a risk to go into gold? No, because I can always go rebuy this, although who knows what the value is. But once it's determined this is no longer valued, you are, once it has no more value, you're done. So you'd be sitting on $100,000, you're done. Now you're sitting on $100,000 worth of gold. Maybe it goes down to 99,000 in the short run, but in the long run, it'll be worth $1 million. My risk reward, the reward is so huge over the risk, it's a joke. Only because inflation is printing the money, which I know most people think it's prices. It's not. Only because of the BRICS country, Russia and China, they're not going to go to war with Russia and China like they did with Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. because they want dollars backed with a gold. They want a gold standard, which is going to zoom the price of gold. So I'm anticipating that happening. Silver going up to the roof. What are the odds on that happening? Well, the odds on this going to zero are 100%. The odds on the gold and silver going up are 100%. The only unknown variable is the time. It's going to take a month. Is it going to take summer? Is it going to take the end of the year? This we don't know. I'm assuming, I don't know. I said we'll wait after the Super Bowl. Let's see if something happens. Nothing happened. Okay. Let's look at the summer. Let's see. Everybody's trying to get out, and you got to realize it takes time. Russia and China have to go out and do the gold standard, so they got to work it out. They can't just, okay, we're on the gold standard. They have to figure it out. So they're in the middle of doing that. And then they have the physical pricing. So instead of a COMEX pricing, which is paper, they're going to have a physical pricing, a Russian gold exchange to get the actual physical price of gold. So if you're looking at Russia's physical at 10,000 and COMEX at 2,000, who do you think is going to win? So it'll be worth 10,000. Now we know JP Morgan runs everything, and so what they want, they get. And if they get caught, they just get fined, which means they just print money. There's a lot of corruption going on, and we know that it's not going to be easy because of the corruption. How do you get JP Morgan to finally get out of COMEX, which is happening? I thought it already did. So that's really your question's timing, right? That's your question, which we don't really know, but we can see it. We can see Russia, China going to a gold standard. We can see the other countries getting off the dollar, going to the gold standard, or going to be in the BRICS and use that currency. We can see that's happening. So that's already the beginning of that's the top of the iceberg, right? We can now see the iceberg, but we don't see the bottom of the iceberg, but we know that's coming. So when it happens, this is why we don't know the date. It's whenever Russia's ready and saying, okay, our exchange is open, and now we're on gold. Now we have a gold-backed ruble and yuan, and it's the BRICS money. And once that happens, then that's the key. So we will see. But that's happening soon. That will happen. It definitely will happen. I definitely think this year. And again, you don't really have what's your risk? At worst case, you take your gold and silver and you go put it back in the worthless paper. But you got to understand the key is the paper is worthless. So I went to my 1971 scenario with the lady at the jewelry store. I says, gold was 35. I said, this is my favorite way to explain. Gold was $35 an ounce. Now it's $18.40 as you showed, but you can't buy it for $18. Let's say you buy $19.50. Gold was $35 for the ounce. The same ounce is worth $19.50 now. It's still an ounce of gold. That didn't change. What changed? The value of the dollar dropped. And that's the nailer right there, right? That's the answer to all the riddles, as they would say. So because then that's when you can see, because it's still an ounce of gold, that hasn't moved and you can't do anything with it. So seeing that then creates the idea that the gold hasn't moved. It's the dollar that takes more dollars to buy it. And really, that's what inflation is, but that's the best way to show it. You can't really show it with cost because, as we've said, Toyota comes out and says, oh, our Camry's $30,000 up from 24. Is that inflation or a price increase? Now we can't sell the cars, so we're going to lower our price from 30 to 25. Is that inflation going down? No. It's just we can't, that's just the market. We can't sell it at that price. We're going to try to sell it at this price. So I did see the jewelry store. There were some people there. I don't know how many were buying. And I don't know if you're buying jewelry instead of gold or gold jewelry. as a way of not getting your gold coin confiscated or not. This I don't know. So anyway, that was my morning. That was fun. I had to go to the bank and I had to go there. And so I could get $800, but I don't. Why would I want this? And I'm not at the point where I need money. I have money, so it's really just a matter of getting, just moving it from the jewelry to the coin. Now I'll go to the coin store and see what he'll give me for it. I'll have this in my pocket and I can compare it. Now I'm a regular customer and I'm going to say, you know what? I'd like to get a half ounce of gold for these two. Right? I know what their weight is. There's this much gold in it. He should come out with the same amount because it was just weighed at the jewelry store. He's going to do the same weighing. He might have a little different spot. Instead of 1840, he might be 1842. But it shouldn't really matter that much. Let's go see what gold's doing. So gold's 1848. Again, they're using the phony price. She was at 1840, so I might be able to get $8. That might be giving me an extra 10. I showed her this. So at 10 o'clock, the down right at 10 as per usual. And then today it's now up to 1845. So it's gone up about $5 from the 10 o'clock drop. And at this point, I would be holding it to see if it's going to go a little bit higher with the thought of getting out by 3:30 on a Friday, because you don't know what happens on the weekend. So on a Friday, you definitely want to sell this sucker by 3:30, so you keep an eye on it. And so that's where gold's at right now, 1847. So I could get a little bit more money on the gold. Silver, I think, was 21, but it's not going anywhere. The Dow is up $300, which, nobody's thinking. And the news is Dow rallies as Tesla dives, leads race to the bottom. Warren Buffett stock craters. Stocks goes higher. Dow gains 300 as Fed. Now that's yesterday. The window is opening for stocks to rally. Here's how long it will last and why. I don't know what, so there's no reason. It's just people are idiots. That's why stocks are up or down. I love when they give the commentary, right? Oh, the stock's up because gold's up because gold's down because the dollar's stronger. No, the dollar is stronger. The dollar stronger against other currencies does not make the dollar strong. It's terribly weak. But when you compare it to weaker teams, it's like saying Jacksonville, they're stronger than Indianapolis. That doesn't make Jacksonville a good team. They're just stronger than the weak teams. The U.S. dollar is only strong against weaker dollars, but it's not a strong dollar. It's being heavily inflated. It's losing its value. So don't tell me it's strong. It's only strong against the yen and the euro. That doesn't make it a strong dollar. Why would I be selling my gold into that? And that's what really they're not doing. So at the end, I told the lady, if you need a consultant for Austrian economics, which it sounds like you do, It's a nice jewelry store, really high end. I've been going there since I bought my ex bought the wedding ring in 1990 when we got married. And, so I've been going to this jewelry store since 1990, basically. And the one thing I told her, at least I know it's always quality here. This is always high quality. So it's a little bit more, but you're getting good quality from it. And that's the key to it. So I says, well, right now I'm holding gold. So when gold goes up, then I can maybe buy some jewelry. But right now, no. So that was my morning. And again, that's, it's just a waiting game. But your risk is, what are you going to do? You're in gold and silver. You don't have you have no risk getting out of paper. The risk is staying in paper, right? And the only competition for it is gold and silver. So it's a no-brainer as far as that goes. There's nothing you really can't lose in gold and silver. There's really the reason for the spot to go down unless JP Morgan hammers it down. But, right now it's just a game. But Russia and China won't change it. All right, what else do we want to talk about? So went to the library yesterday and did my college basketball. So let's go there. There's so many freaking teams. Oh, my God. So I did 2 analysis. So the first analysis, so I got all the teams and standings. So like the American East, the Atlantic 10, all this bullshit. And I looked at who's winning it, right? So in the American standings, Houston is 15-1 in conference, 27-2 overall. They score 76 a game and give up 55. So they're one of the top teams in the country on the 76-59 standing. So Memphis, who's 22-7, scores 79, gives up 73. So the A team looks like Houston, where they score 76, give up 55. In converse, a team like, let's see, here you have Tulane scores 81 and gives up 76. So Tulane looks like an over team, right? So Houston looks like the A team, and then Memphis looks over and Tulane looks over. Memphis 79-73 and Tulane 81-76. So I have done this for each conference. Then I scroll over and did a variable. What's a variable, Howard? Well, that's what I do for pro football. So when we look at the top offensive team is Gonzaga at 87 points, give up 74. They're a plus 13-5, which probably is an over team. But we got to figure out, is 73 a good defense or a bad defense? Now, here's Alabama at 83-69. So they're 4 points better defensively, 4 points less offensively. So if I just look at the big hitters, Gonzaga is 13.5. The difference between points scored and points allowed. If anybody's leaving me a chat, I'll be back. I'll check it in a few minutes. We got Youngstown State, 83-72, a plus 10. We got Alabama, 83-69, a plus 14. Xavier, Furman, a plus 11. James Madison, a plus 13. So if you're betting, and here's Furman. Now, who knows anything about Furman? Nobody, except for the professor. So I would come here and say, wow, they score 82 points. They give up 71. This is going to be a live dog. Now, yeah, they're in a weaker conference, but basketball is basketball. And in my mind, they're still a good team, regardless. Because what do we see in the NCAA basketball tournament? Repeatedly, there's no real super team. And we see the upsets a lot of times with like Xavier or what was that other team that kept making it? And I can't think of it. The guy's coaching Boston now. Anyway, so like here's James Madison's a 13. We've got Massachusetts Lowell. Talk about a sleeper. They get 78 a game, give up 66. That's huge. They're a plus 12. Now that's a game you can make a lot of money on, especially in round 1 or 2, right? You got them as a 12 seed playing a 4 seed, and you're getting 10 points. That's a fucking lock. I mean, you got a good offense with a good defense, a plus 12. That's the hidden secrets. Here we have Yale, 76, gives up 62, right? Let's see. We got Houston. Now, Houston, I think, should be the 1 seed. They're 27-2. They score 76, give up only 55. This is an A team, right? 20 points, a 20-point variable. This is huge. So they have probably the best defense at 55-9 with a 76 offense. That's an A team, right? For what I'm seeing, where a lot of teams give up 70 or give up in the mid to upper 60s, I'm not seeing too many in the 50s. And they still score 76. So I would look for Houston to make the Final Four. Judging by the conference they're in, it's going to be hard to beat them. So this is your live dog. This is you would choose them to win the bracket without knowing any player or coach on the team. And the only thing I would check is injuries, right? So as I see this now, I'm betting Houston to win the bracket. Then we take it to the next level. Are there any injuries? If there's no injuries, I'm taking Houston into the Final Four, probably with Alabama and the Murderer, and then we'll see these other teams. We got a 10-9 with Drake. We got a 10-9 with Kent State, my Kent Staters. We got a 15 with Sam Houston State. There you go. Another one of these. They're good in their conference. Are they good getting out of the conference? Like if they played Houston, are they good? You know, it's a 73-58 team, another strong defensive team. Probably an under against Houston. Let's see. Here's one of the few negatives. St. Francis, Pennsylvania scores 73-4 and gives up 74. I'm seeing mostly positives. Here's Michigan. They're a 4-7. They score 73, give up 68. They look like an under team. They're not scoring. As we talked, Houston scored like 80. They're 73. They're low 70s. And then Houston gave up 55 a game. They're giving up 68. So they just look like a weak under team. Now, I haven't watched 1 second of Michigan basketball. Here's another negative, Denver. 72, give up 74. And I'm going to sort this by variable. I think I have. Let me check. I think I put it by under, and then I think I put it by variable. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so let's do this. Yeah, much better. So I'm going to name you the teams between 20 until 10. Houston at 20.2, Liberty at 15.3, Tennessee at 15.2, Sam Houston State at 15.1, Alabama at 14, UCLA at 14, Yale at 14, Oral Roberts 13.7, Charleston 13.7, Connecticut 13.7, Gonzaga 13.5, James Madison 13.5, Florida Atlantic 13.4, St. Mary's 12.6, Mass Lowell 12-3, Arizona 12-1, UAB 11-5, Purdue 11-2, Furman 11-1, Marshall 10-9, Drake 10-9, Kent State 10-9, Iona 10-8, Youngstown State 10-7, Texas 10-4, Bradley 10-2, and Southern Utah at 10. So I bet you that Alabama won the SEC and UCLA won the Pac-10 and Purdue won the Big Ten. Arizona's right there with UCLA, so maybe Arizona's it's a 1-2. Houston probably won their conference, which I think they did. Tennessee was probably up there with Alabama. Kentucky, I don't see. Duke, I don't see. Kansas, I don't see. So that makes it, gives you that. So those should, now the worst ones I'm not really going to look at because I'm only going to focus on the tournament. And I can't imagine a team that's a -8 is in the tournament, right? So these should be your tournament. So if you went off of this, your Final Four would probably be Houston, Alabama, UCLA, maybe Connecticut, maybe Liberty can upset. Sam Houston State probably gets close. Yale, Oral Roberts, Charleston, Gonzaga, James Madison. Those are your. Let's see where they're seated. Let's see if they're dogs. Those are your strong plays in the first few rounds. And everybody will be surprised. Oh, well, Liberty. Oh, look at they advanced. Fuck, Liberty's a 15-3. They're 75 and give up 60. Of course they should be there. They should be, they should be favored in the first few games. So being Teaser King, that's what we do. So that's how we analyze football. But it's one, but not all. Like I have 15 different methods for football. As you know, I discussed most of them. And the same thing with basketball. So from there, I would look at injury, then I look at matchup, and then let's see what the point spread is. So I will I'll print out the bracket, and then I'll use this to post my lines, and then we'll see what the real lines are. And my guess is we'll get Liberty as a dog, possibly. UCLA, Arizona, Alabama, Houston, right off the bat as playing a 16 seed, they should be a 15-point favorite. So we'll see where they come in. The next thing is to check the injuries. So let's see how this works in college basketball. I think it'll work really well. We see the offense and the defense. I was just so happy I could click off and click back on. I think my mouse was giving me problems. Now that I use my finger on the mouse on the computer, it's much easier. So with that said, that's really what we're looking for in what we see. With that, we see another method that we know works in football. And then you got to look at their schedule. Who did Houston play? They're the best team, but let's see who they played. Alabama had to play Tennessee and Kentucky, we think. So as we did in the Super Bowl, once we dug into Philadelphia, we thought they were an A team. They're an A team against the weaker teams, but when they played a good offensive team, and I only had two they played, Dallas and Green Bay, they were not a very good defense. So that led us to playing the over and the dog because they really aren't as good as their numbers show. And that's what you really understand. So with that said, let's see how the bracket works. And then we'll give picks out every day, I assume, because there'll be what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll give picks out then based on this and injury news, and we'll see what's going on. Basketball is different. There's only 5 guys. A superstar like Dan Marino couldn't win in football because he didn't have a running attack and he didn't let his defense rest. Brady was smarter. Montana was smarter. Montana would dink and dunk down the field, which rested his defense, and so did Brady. Montana didn't do it. He'd throw these long touchdowns, and his team would be tired. And Faust did the same thing. Yeah, it was good they threw the long passes, but you never let your defense rest. Well, in basketball, it's 5 guys. You get a Marino on your team, that's all you need, right? You're going to win with the one guy. That's where he can win. So we'll keep an eye on that. So I'm kind of excited about the college baskets here. I think that'll work really good. So I'll have to go print out the bracket. What else? Let's see. Went to the pool. Normal. I don't think I saw anybody. It was pretty quiet there. Let's see. I went yesterday. Oh, I went early yesterday. I went after the show. I just did a 21-hour fast. So I ate at 3 o'clock. And I felt a little heavy, and I felt like I just had some, muffins. And I'm like really mad at myself. Like, no, dude, stay on your diet. I started feeling a little bit like I don't want my blood sugar to rise. And I started feeling kind of like that. So I said, okay. So I ate at 3 and I just ate at noon. So I went 21 hours. I did a Bobby, 21 hours of fasting. And it wasn't hard. I got up and I ran to the bank, and I was excited. I thought I got the extra money on Social Security, which I didn't get, which I think I'll call them and go, why didn't I get this? I thought there was an extra couple thousand coming out. Obviously I didn't get it. So I'm a little bit miffed on that, but anyway, when I didn't get the email, I thought, oh, okay, I'm fine, because I'll get an email when my balance is low or reaches a certain, like if it goes under $20 or if it goes negative, they'll pay the bill, and then I got to cover the money. So they'll take it out, and then I cover it, and then they release the bill. So rent's pending because they took the charge, but I didn't have the money. So then I put the money in, and now rent's good. And anyway, so that's where I'm at with it. And it was an expensive month last month. This month, my birthday next week will be expensive. And it doesn't even count the money I lost at poker was with safe money, not even bank money. So I don't go to use my ATM there. I take the cash and I play with the cash there. So we'll have to see. But I think I'll play poker on the 7th. If I can't win on my birthday, I don't know when I can win. And that's why my 7 is my lucky number, that's my birthday. So we will keep that in mind. Anyway, so that was the day. So I went early. So I just fasted, and I thought about just keep fasting the whole day. And then not eating till tomorrow when I get my Chinese. And I thought about that, but I think what I'll do is I'll eat Chinese tomorrow and Sunday, and then I think I'll skip eating Monday and maybe Tuesday. No, my birthday's Tuesday, so I will not eat Monday, and then eat for my birthday. I'll have dinner out, maybe the barbecue place or something, and eat there. That'll be my little gift to myself. So we will see. And all I ask for is the girls in Europe is to just recognize my birthday. I don't expect them to give me a gift. They're not well off. And what are they going to do? All they could send me is money, which I don't want their money because they don't have any, and I'm helping them survive. So I really don't want to go there. So I'm hoping, let's see if I get this job. Now, this is a job at Volkswagen. So Volkswagen, they had a job at $50 an hour in November, which I thought I would get, and I didn't get it. And I don't know if they hired anybody. Then they offered me, I don't think anybody got it. Then they came back at $37 an hour, which I laughed at because I make $50 an hour. And I said, absolutely not. And now it came back up at $44 an hour. So I hemmed and hawed. I really don't want to cheapen it, but I thought under the condition, $44 an hour sounds pretty good right now with the Social Security. Until it's a bridge until gold goes up. So I just want the bridge to go a little bit longer. If I get a year there and then gold finally does its thing, then I'm retiring anyway. As soon as gold goes up, I'm retiring. It's the bridge of how much money do I have without cashing in the gold because I don't know what people are going to do. Well, I'll always have the Social Security money. It's just helping the girls. If it gets to that point, I just won't be able to help them. The Social Security will pay, basically the rent and the food and stuff like that. It'll allow me to survive instead of letting me help the girls. So I just won't be able to help them, and hopefully they'll be okay, or I'll just, here's $50 and go eat carefully. But without me, you'd be dead anyway. So we will see how it works. I'll still probably plan on Spain. If I get the job, I'll just say, well, I have a vacation planned, and then I'll go to Spain anyway. But it's much easier when you got a job and you know you got the money coming in. So we will see, but it's we'll see what happens. But hopefully, I get this job, even though it's a little bit of a pay cut. It's still should be an easy job at Volkswagen, especially working at Mercedes. They'll trust that I worked at a German company. And we shall see. So anyway, so that's promising. But this is where I've been at. I've had 5 or 6 of these phone calls, and you get applied and you don't get it. And my thought is it me? Is it my age? Is it the fact that they don't want to hire because of the recession, depression, inflation? So I'm not sure. I think it's a bit of both. I think it's more they're putting the freeze on the hiring versus me, because I've always gotten jobs real quickly because of my skill set, my master's, my experience. It's like, oh, yeah, we know he can do it. Because when you're hiring me, you're hiring somebody that you know can do the job. So think about it. You're hiring somebody. You want to make sure they know what they're doing. So if you hire a carpenter or somebody to watch the kids or somebody to cook for you or your attorney or your CPA, you would think your financial planner, he knows what he's doing, right? You want to hire somebody he knows. So you go to the experience. Okay, he's been a CPA for 20 years. He does tax returns. Okay, fine. I can trust he's going to do mine. And that's really so you're trusting with my experience that I can come in and do the job. That's what you really want to know. And so I give you that relief, especially in a, contract type of job where, you're only talking about somebody for a year or two anyway. So you would think that'd be no problem. That's why I'm surprised I can't get anywhere. So I assume that nobody's hiring. Anyway. So we will play poker soon. And when we play, first thing we do is look at the people, try to get a read on the way they play. When they raise, is it a real raise or a bluff? When they call, are they slow playing or are they really just not on a hand? That's what you're trying to figure out from the players. And then you're looking at, they normally check and then they get a hand, they bet it. Can I keep them in? Can I sucker them? All that kind of stuff. So that's what you're looking at your opponent. And then you hope you get good cards. And I'll tell you, I'll probably be a little more cautious if I do get the all in and I have the flush, I might have to fold it because it's not worth calling the all. It's not worth calling the all in if I thought my flush was good, but I thought it was good. He happened to have a higher flush. But I didn't ask why is he going all in? Does he, I put him on 2 pair or something, figuring I got him beat. So with that said, I'll be a little more careful before I go all in. I got to make sure I really have like the one of the monster hands to do it with. So we will see. Okay, so basketball we've got, football, the draft. I heard somebody's top 10 quarterbacks for next year. And one name that wasn't on it is our man Rising, which I almost pulled off the side of the road. How the fuck is that guy not on a top 10 quarterback list for next year? They had Penix and Bo Nix. And then they had Jalen, the guy from LSU, from Arizona State, who sucks. The best guy was Alabama, and no, he's this year. The best guy was USC's quarterback, again, system quarterback. They didn't have anybody from the SEC. Well, they had, I don't know who they had. It was like Bo Nix and the guy from Washington, the guy from LSU, but no Rising on the list. Are they fucking crazy? These are guys that obviously, this was like the CBS list. See, this is the whole problem with it. How can Rising not be the number one quarterback? Caleb Williams is on it, but again, that's a system thing. Is he really that good? No, it's the system. See, it's funny when there's a quarterback, they'll say it's a system. He's not that good. But when you get to Ohio State and Alabama, it's not a system. Then they were so that was the 10, and I'm like, you guys are idiots. Then they were talking about CJ Stroud and the pro day. So in the pro day, they're talking about what if CJ Stroud runs a 4.5 and Levis runs a 5 flat or something? Like, dude, these are quarterbacks. We're not worried about their speed. We're worried about, can they throw the fucking ball? Can they read a blitz? Can they read a defense? That's what I'm worried about. That's why this whole pro day is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Let's see let's time him in the 40 and what's his vertical jump? I mean, that's not what a quarterback is. Joe Montana, Brady, they wouldn't have graded out in that, so that shows you it doesn't work. Oh, Lamar was quick. Yeah, well, look what Lamar did. How many playoff games did he win, right? So it's all kind of like a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, that's where you are with that, and so you just want to understand it. So that's why I kind of laugh at it. I can do if I look at my thing, touchdowns to interceptions and how good was the quarterback, which is what I read. Oh, I know. They were calling Zappy a system quarterback. Like to say, well, at Western Kentucky, it's a system, and he looked good there. I think pretty fucking good on New England. You're telling me Alabama isn't a system and Ohio State isn't a system, but you'll run to say they're the best quarterbacks? That's a total system there. That's why none of them are any good in the pros. Anyway, so that's the problem. Your best one's like a Joe Burrow who comes into a situation where they don't score, and with him they score. Rising, Hartman, Van Dyke, that's where all these excel, is that they're not in the system. It's them. And then when Miami came in and switched to a system that wasn't cohesive to Van Dyke, he looked like shit. He had no receivers. He had no blocking. And you want to run the ball. And then he's got to throw on 3rd and long. Like, well, that's not going to be good for Van Dyke. So it was ridiculous. What are they doing? Again, the coaches are morons. So we'll come out with more draft as we get closer to it. What is it, March? I don't know. What's the draft in April? I don't get the big deal about the draft. Like, oh, let's have it in different cities. Like, who gives a shit? I wouldn't go to the draft if they paid me to go to it. What do I need to go? Especially the first days. What a waste of time. 15 minutes between picks. I can go on Google and go draft picks and see them all going, oh, here's who got drafted. Why do I need to see it live? There's no point in seeing it live. All I want to know is, who went where? Where did Van Dyke go? Where did Rising go? Or in this case, who's the idiot that took the Alabama or Ohio State quarterbacks? Same thing with that Alabama linebacker. Why is he touted so high? Because he went to Alabama. Oh, yeah, their defense looked good, giving up 50 points to Tennessee. Yeah, I want that guy on my team. I'm going to draft him 3rd because look how strong he was. This was not a good Alabama defense. I mean, you should have made hay with the Georgia defense last year. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to Iowa State, Iowa, Illinois, a little bit of Georgia, Washington State, Oregon State for my defense, not to Alabama. Sorry. And there was a team who did that. The Steelers of the 70s. I was watching the thing on them. And they said, how did you draft so good? And they said, because we took the guys out of winning teams. So they would draft guys that were on winning programs because they were winners. And that's what we wanted to change the whole dynamic because we had never won. The Pittsburgh never won a playoff game before the Immaculate Reception in their history. They never won a playoff game, so they wanted to change the culture to. So we're going to draft a bunch of guys who come from winning programs who know how to win already, and then let them do their thing, and that's what they did. There was a story on Joe Green. They were losing one game, and he threw the ball in the stands and quit. He said, "Well, we're not going to win. I'm out of here." There's like 10 minutes left in the game. He's like, I'm taking my ball and going home. I don't want to play anymore. It's no fun to lose. And it was hysterical, but that's what you need. That's a winner. But you're going to get winners at the winning schools. So you're not going to get a winner. That's why I like Stetson Bennett. Oh, he's 26. Oh, well, yeah, there's no 26-year-olds playing in the pro football. What kind of stupid thing that? He can still play 10 years. What's the difference if he's good? Look at Stafford played, 15 years. Okay, fine. Or, some of these guys played longer. You forget Brady. Okay, Rodgers, he's playing till he's 39. Drew Brees played late. So you still have these quarterbacks playing into their upper 30s. So if he's 26, who cares? Why is that a problem drafting a guy? So he's 26. So he's more experienced, probably knows what to do. He probably knows how to win a lot better than a 21-year-old or a guy who's a third-year guy. So he's 18, 19, 20. So you're gonna draft a 20-year-old or 21. You think he's ready to play against 25, 26-year-old professional athletes, professional football players? You're out of your fucking mind. These comments these idiots make. So if it's Western Kentucky, it's a system. But if it's Alabama and Ohio State, it's not. Oh my God! Any moron can be on the radio. But the only time I listen to them is when I'm in the car, going to swim, or here the coin store, or going to the grocery store. Otherwise, I'm on YouTube. I'm on here. I don't listen to it. There's nothing worth listening to. And off you go. So that's my comment on that. So we'll talk about the draft as it gets closer. Basically, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to look at touchdowns to interceptions. And that's the key to really looking at it is who's got the touchdowns. Like the USC guy is going to grade out, but I like the UCLA and the Utah and the Arizona and Oregon, Washington. I prefer those quarterbacks because they're not playing the system game. They're playing I like Hafner from Fresno State. It's not a system there. It's a new coach, and he still looked really good, and he was a winner. He was a winner when he beat UCLA a couple of years ago. I remember I had Fresno State as a dog against UCLA, and it was late in the game, and UCLA just took the lead, and he drives them back down. He's got a bad hip or a bad leg. He can barely walk. 5 seconds left in the game, and he hits a 20-yarder in the corner. Touchdown, Fresno State wins. And the guy couldn't even stay. He fell down after, and he was in a lot of pain. He played next week, and he, he's a winner. That's what you want as a winner. But they won't talk about him because he played at Fresno State or he's 5'10", or, there's a whole line of 6'4" quarterbacks. And how many of the 6'4" quarterbacks are any good? Or do you think Tom Brady is good because he was 6'4"? Or because he had brains, he doesn't have a good arm, but he's got brains. That's the key to it. Are they smart? Aaron Rodgers, all right, is he good because he's over 6 feet tall, or is he good because he's smart and he can read a defense and he's got a good arm? I mean, that's the key to it. It's got nothing to do with the height. Where does height come in? Now, if he's really small, but as long as he's, 5'11", 6 feet, somewhere around there. Obviously, it's not a problem in college. It's the same linemen in college that are in the pro. They're all 6'5", 300 pounds. That's what you got on every team. If that's not a problem, then why is it a problem in the pros? And it's all relevant. You're not throwing over the guys. You're throwing in lanes. So as they go back to pass, the lane opens up. You can see the receivers. You know where they are, and you throw it to them. Really, you're looking for the defense. Where's the safety? That's what you're looking for. Now, do you got to be 6'4", to look over the line. Well, the linemen are standing up. What if you got tall linemen? I mean, very difficult. So I don't. It's just clearly, can you win the game? Stetson Bennett, the way he came back from Ohio State, I would rather have him than the Ohio State quarterback who did nothing against Michigan. You go down the list. I like the TCU quarterback, Washington quarterback, the Utah quarterback. Come down to beat USC twice. Where was the USC quarterback in those games? He didn't win them. So again, that's my point. No chat today. I wonder if it's working. Sometimes I wonder, I don't get this little pink banner, so I don't know if it works. And then Bobby comes on and I go, okay, it works. But anyway, so we will see. I'm going to go watch the Andrew McGuire chat today to see what I can learn. Although he's got this guest on, which, we don't want to hear. If we want to hear about him, we'll listen to his shows. I don't really want to hear him on your show. I don't know why they don't get it. They keep thinking they need a guest. I think to draw audience. Oh, he's on it. So it'd be like if I was on it, you might watch it because the professor's on this guy's gold broadcast, I guess. I don't need guests, and I don't know how I'd get them anyway. I'm not sophisticated enough. Like they'll put up screens. I don't know how to do that. I don't know if it's a screen or what, but I just show you off my phone. Here you go. So let's see what we got. And let's see, I got a message. What's this about? Oh, it's another message. I love when these people get on these other chats. Like this one person wants to talk to me on Google Chat. Well, fuck, just go on WhatsApp. Like, what's the big deal? Oh, I wanted to see. Let's see what's on YouTube. So China sells 213 billion of U.S. treasuries. Why? Because they're buying gold. So they're dumping their assets to buy gold. So just like what we're doing, we're dumping our paper to buy gold. And they don't care about it. See, then you get an idiot like this who says, leaked government messages reveal plans for lockdowns. Well, we know there's the COVID. So usually I start listening to it, then it comes really stupid. This is what I'll listen to, number 112. This Greg Hemke, I don't know. He's kind of strange. What central banks don't want you to know? Obviously, that gold has a value. I mean, what else is it? It's 100 minutes, so it's an hour and a half. So what I do is I'll listen a little. I'll listen in the car. I'll go on my bike and I'll listen another 20 minutes on the bike. And it's fine. So here's why I don't like YouTube. YouTube has any given Sunday, but you can buy it or rent it. Well, what the fuck am I buying movies from YouTube? And they're like $13. Why would I fuck buy? It's not even competitive. Why would anybody buy a movie on YouTube? And why are they selling or renting? I mean, why aren't they just? I used to watch James Bond movies. Then they figured out somebody was just posting them, and then you can't. And now you got to buy or rent them. So here's my doctor, and he's going, I ate the normal American diet for 10 days, and here's what happened. The guy probably, his blood pressure probably went through the roof. Looky, Captain Crunch, orange juice, muffin, beer, Coke, Captain Crunch, McDonald's. So he's saying, this is what I ate. I'm curious, this one. For 10 days. Here's what happened to my body. It blew up. I got cancer, and my blood pressure went to 500. I got to watch that one. Anyway, that's what I see. Here's one. Russia launches missile from the Sea of Japan. Okay. What happened to it? 2 new casinos. The craziest stuff happened in Las Vegas. 2 new casinos came up in March. They can't handle all they don't have any traffic now. What are they? They're putting up 2 new ones? So basically, that's what we see on YouTube. I'll watch my guy, Andrew McGuire, number 112. So we know all about gold, football, basketball. We see the top teams based on offensive defense. Now, that's a really good way to look at basketball, I feel. I'll do the same with the pros because I think it's the only way to really do it. How else can you do it? What else can you look for? It tells you everything you need to know. They're a good defensive team. Well, how do you know if they're a good defensive team? Well, if they give up 55 points a game, everybody else is giving up 75 to 80, they're probably a good fucking defensive team. So that's what you get out of it. The same thing with offense. If they average 80 points a game, and I think the difference is like the Philadelphia Eagles had the weakest schedule I've ever seen. See, that's the thing people aren't talking about. The Eagles' schedule was so weak, so you think they're a good team, but they could never prove it because they couldn't beat it. They didn't play anybody. So now we'll see them next year with the tough schedule, right? They're going to get a different AFC. They're not going to get the Indy, Jacksonville. They're going to get either Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, or Kansas City, San Diego, or Buffalo, Miami, New England, the Jets. So they're going to have a much harder time next year. Dallas still sucks. Washington's terrible. And Dallas, Washington, Philadelphia, and the Giants will be terrible. We'll see if they get a better quarterback. But this is the problem. And then the other problem is they'll draft the quarterback. So they draft, anybody stupid enough to draft C.J. Stroud, and they start him. First of all, you shouldn't draft C.J. Stroud, but if you do, you shouldn't start him for 3 or 4 years until he can learn the offense and practice against it. Not, well, you look good at Ohio State losing to Michigan, by the way. You must be a real good quarterback. I mean, that's the insane part of it. He lost to fucking Michigan. How would you draft this guy? You got to be kidding me. That's their biggest game of the year. You lose that game, you're a loser. I don't want you. it's one thing when at least Fields would win the game, but it was all system. And why they don't want it's funny how they make excuses for Ohio State. It's a system. Well, no, Ohio State, you can't think it's no, it is a system. What are you talking about? The whole thing's a system. Oh my God. So anyway, that's the craziness. So that's what we have. What else is there? So economics. I'll look for some new economic stuff to talk about, but basically it's all Say's Law and Adam Smith and competition and substitute goods, gold standard. I mean, so a lot of it is when I'm talking gold, it's Austrian economics. I don't know where else to go with it. The government with the monopoly and JP Morgan running these monopolies and these scams to keep the gold price down. That's all economics. And I don't really know what we're missing. I'll dig in a little. There was a section that was about history, which I went over, like Spain was number one in France and that, and England, and now the US was the lead currency. But you don't really need a lead currency. In all honesty, you're better off every country having their own currency. And then, like the euro, these countries are out of their minds to have a euro. Why would I? If I'm in Italy, why would I want to be part of the euro? I want my Italian market to dictate my dollar and dictate my interest rate and dictate what I buy and sell. I want it to be independent. What do I need to join this whole block? It is the weakest currency, the euro. It's the stupidest currency. It's a British pound, it's the Swiss franc, it's the Japanese yen, it's the Chinese yuan, it's the Russian ruble, it's the US dollar. It's the only place that has this grouping. Now, BRICS is going to it, but look who's running it, Russia and China. I'd be scared shitless. Now, that's the problem. See, the problem is people say, well, we need something. And the answer is no, we don't. All we need is gold. Just have gold in your system, and you don't need any other currency. You don't need to join BRICS. Just don't buy the dollar. And it's like, I don't want an electric car. I'm not going to buy it. I don't want the US dollar. I'm just going to have gold. I'll have my currency backed by gold. Now, I know the US has been kind of fighting that. How they can and get away with it is beyond me. I would certainly somehow report it and say, so here's the example. So here's the U.S. We're going to come out with a gold-backed currency. We're Italy, and then we get a call. Oh, no, we're the U.S. We're gonna go to war and destroy you if you have a gold-backed currency. And I'd be like, well, it's my currency. I can do it the fuck I want. It's my country. You're going to bomb me? Well, everybody's going to know you're going to bomb me. We'll make sure of that, and go fuck yourselves. I mean, where does the U.S. get off saying if you go to a gold standard current, monetary base, we're going to blow you up, and we'll blow up Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi? Where's that? Like, something doesn't add up there. I would definitely be. I would probably go to China and say, we need your help. They're going to nuke us, so we need you to defend us, and we'll give you some of our gold, which they would take, and or buy or get some. You need some defense, but that goes against letting the U.S. bully you around, which I really hate, and it makes no sense. That JP Morgan's that powerful that he's literally controlling the US government and literally not allowing anybody else to go on the gold standard. I'd be like, fuck you. Now look at Zimbabwe. They've done it. And apparently they're still there. Sorry. So that's where I don't get is these people, they haven't stopped Zimbabwe from making the dollar. They told them to not, and Zimbabwe told them to fuck off. We got hyperinflation because that's what you have. You have to understand if your dollar doesn't have backing by gold or silver or oil or something where you can't just print it. That's why you have the backing. In the gold standard, you can only print as much gold as much paper as you have gold. So if you don't have any gold, you can't print any dollars. So that's what the whole gold standard was. That's where they took your money, is they wanted to print more money. They didn't have the gold for it, so they needed more gold. That's why they're not going to confiscate you now, is they're not on the gold standard, so they can just print as much as they want. That's the advantage of getting off the gold standard, is there's no limit to the amount of paper you can print, which is why you have hyperinflation, which is why all the currencies go to zero. It's the corrupt people with the money who just want to keep printing it, thinking they get greedy. They go, oh, wow, this is great. It's the printing press. We'll just print $1 trillion and put it in our pockets. And that's really, but they don't understand when they print it, the more they print, the less it's worth. So they're actually hurting the value when they print it. They think they can just print. And so when you're on the gold standard, you can only print, say, if 100 ounces of gold, I can only print 100. The value of the dollar is worth 100 ounces, because the idea is I go to the bank with $100, say I want gold, and they have to give it to you. That's why there won't be a gold standard per se here, but there'll be something, because they cannot have this not backed by gold. Problem is the U.S. doesn't have any gold. So again, it's the $64 million question that I'm the only one who can answer, is why is this why are they letting this happen? And the answer is because China wants it to. Who benefits from the U.S. blowing itself up? China. China then they won't be the leader in money, but they have all the gold, which they don't really need to blow us up to do it. But I guess if they bankrupt us, then our military is useless, because without money, the military is not working. I can't pay you, and they're not going to work. They're not going to blow anybody up. They're not going to work. Nobody works for free. They'll go work for another country. That's what the Romans did, right? They blew up their currency, and all the Roman soldiers worked for the Germans because they ended up getting the gold, I guess. So again, who has the gold can control the armies. So that's what you have. So that's why that's why you need a gold standard or something to contain the dollar from blowing up, which is what happens. So that's why it's just they keep printing as much as they want, because the corrupt powers the dragon ends up being in charge, right? Like the Hobbit. The dwarfs made so much gold that it attracted the dragon, and he took it. And that's what you have here. We blew up our gold and blew up our currency, and the dragons in China now, and they have all the gold. They control everything, and we don't have any, so we're fucked. And that's the problem. So that's what you have going. It's really nuts, but that's what you have. So it's a strange paradox. You need the gold standard, but it draws corrupt people, because you get very wealthy with it, because you can't corrupt the dollar and the prices and the interest rates. They will stay. You'll have a great economy. The economy will grow. Everybody becomes rich, which then brings in the dragons and the evil people and the JP Morgans and the BlackRocks. All the losers come in wanting to steal the money, and that's what happens. They take it, and then they go have a frenzy, and they print it and print it and print it. Next thing you know, heavy inflation, and that's why they all go out, because once you print it, you can't not print it, right? You can't, it didn't count, or let's give it to us back. I mean, once you printed it, it's printed. So once there's $10 trillion out there, it's 10 trillion. There's not 9, and you keep printing and printing. So it's a nightmare. But that's what happens. So anyway, that's why you need the gold standard. Then you just have gold, and then you don't worry about stuff. So you don't worry. I don't need to be in the EU or anything. I'm just going to have my money back by gold, and our country will be very successful. I don't need the US dollar if I have gold. I don't care about it. And that's where everybody needs to get to, is to get off the dollars to have the gold, which is, I think, the theory of the BRICS countries, where they have the dollar backed by gold, which allows them to all the other countries to trust it. And that will raise the price of gold, which is what we're waiting for. So I think that's what it's just, we don't know the time. It's whenever they're ready to put the dollar out by gold and have that physical exchange is when all this shit happens. Right now, this war, Russia and the Ukraine's really Russia versus the U.S. China's a little bit involved, and we're just selling arms. It's a Raytheon McLaren war where they're just sales are increasing. That's about it. But be careful. The stock market's going to crash because people will need money, and the companies aren't going to be as profitable, so they'll go down. And none of the financial planners are smart enough to put you in gold. They're all Keynesians. So it's a whole blooming spot. It's sort of like picking TCU over Michigan. Everybody, Michigan beat Ohio State. Michigan's this, Michigan's that. TCU's, they're really not that good. That's all I heard. And then TCU wins. And I'm surprised it was that close. So it was really never again, I knew what was going to happen, and it happened, and everybody else is Michigan, and it didn't happen. That's the same thing here. I know it's going to happen with gold and everything, and then everybody else is just in oblivion. Oh, buy stocks. So it's a good time. Stocks are down. Buy it. Yeah, if you want to lose all your money, buy it. If you're a financial planner and you're planning for retirement, you're fucking all the people up. They're all fucked. So I don't know what you want, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, I got to plan a trip to Spain, I guess. I don't know where to go. It looks like there's Madrid and there's Barcelona, and there's that. So I just want to see. And then how big is Spain? Can I take a bus or taxi? Is it an hour from one side to the other? Is it a 4-hour type of country? How far is it? Can I go? How close is the Mediterranean? And then can I boat from here to there, spend the day? That's what we did when we went to Cannes in France, and then we took a boat to Saint-Tropez. We took a boat to Nice. We took a boat to Monte Carlo. So I saw the real Monte Carlo, not the Vegas style. And you got on a boat at 9 a.m. You spent the day, and at 4 o'clock you took the boat back. I suppose you didn't need to. You could have got a hotel there and stayed, and then come back the next day, or not come back at all. I just go to the airport. The airport's in Cannes, so everything. Here's the airport. Here's Monte Carlo. Here's Cannes. Here's Saint-Tropez. So I think if I'm in Cannes, if I wanted to go to Monte Carlo, I could have taken my luggage and just stayed there and then not boated back. I mean, they don't care. So could have done that. But anyway, Monte Carlo is expensive, that's for sure. You need a lot of gold to live there. But that's the idea. So you want to get on the gold standard. You want to gold will protect you. That's the only thing that will. It's the only competition to the dollar. That's why the BRICS countries are getting off the dollar, and their only place they can go is the gold, which is what they're trying to do with Russia, China. So they're smart enough to realize they got to get out of dollars. They're smart enough to realize all their central banks are buying gold, as they smart enough to realize they need it. So anyway, that's what's that. So I'll be working on the basketball and the brackets. I guess will come out Sunday once we have all the tournaments finished. And then I'll print them out, and I'll put our notes in, and off we go. And we will see what happens. Anyway, I think that's about it. Any others? I haven't had any comments today. I haven't seen Bobby all day. I don't know where he's at. So outside of that, that's about all I have. I'll give you another minute or two to throw a comment down. So we covered golf, football, poker, college basketball, economics. So I don't know what else I can cover. Pretty much hit everything. Anyway, alrighty. I will be back tomorrow, I guess. We're supposed to get like 10 inches of snow tonight. So I'll probably be in. So maybe I'll go swim a little bit earlier. We will see. But that's about it. So the only other thing is, so as I showed you, so I assume when they're saying this is 9.6 grams. No, yeah. This is 9.6 at 18 carats. So they're dividing it by that, because I don't think 9.6 times 1480 gets me to 20. Yeah, that'd be like 10. That would be, I don't know. I'll have to do the math. 1840. I have to see how they came up with it. But like this is 36 grams. Then they're timesing it by the 18 carat. But to me, this is an ounce. I'm very confused why this isn't a full. If this is 30, why isn't this an ounce? Why isn't this 1800? Or I guess it would be if it was 24 carats. So because it's 18 carat, let me do the math on those. But anyway, so if you have some gold, this is my wedding ring, which I really don't like. And then this is nice, but I think I'd rather have a half ounce. I don't know what this is going to do for me. I think I'd rather have the half ounce. I mean, as long as I can buy it, or I'll take a quarter ounce and as much silver as I can buy. But this should be 8.25. So it should be 575 and another, 10 ounces of silver. So that's what I should be able to get for this, which I'd rather have. This has no sentimental value, and this has zero sentimental value. This is my graduation present. This is the sentimental value. This being married has no value, especially white gold. And then the same with this. She was supposed to buy me a gold watch, which she bought me a gold-plated watch, which pissed me off. Another reason why I divorced her. She's too stupid. All right. And being an INFJ, I just closed the door on her. No, not needed. But I do like the two I have now, so that's good. All right. I think that's about it. www.teaserking.com. I'll be selling some college baskets. And then when the NBA playoffs, we'll look into the NBA, sell some pro baskets there, baseball when it comes up. So we will branch off on this, and off we go. All right, everybody, have a great day. Have a good weekend. Be careful if you get a big snowfall. We're going to get it. I thought there was like 15 feet of snow in Yellowstone or something, or Yosemite. It was a huge number. So we're probably getting we're supposed to get 10 inches of snow. It's unbelievable. All right, everybody. Have a good day, good weekend. I will talk to you soon. www.teaserking.com.